Now let's do another question. Let's do a question of happiness. The question for us today is, what makes us happy? Come on, what makes you happy? How can you live a happy life? Okay. Well, obviously, money, right? If you have a lot of money, that's gonna make you happy. What else?
Power.
Exactly, power, right? Sure. Power. Excuse me?
Freedom.
Okay, good, freedom. Yeah. What else?
Relationships.
Relationships, yep, sure. You have good friends, right? Like lots and lots of friends. What else?
Romantic relationships.
Okay, love, right? Love, sure. What else? Like video games, I guess. Vacations, okay? Lots and lots of things, okay? What you will discover about this list is this. You are thinking about individual happiness. And this is actually unique in human history. If you were to go back in time to 500 years ago, and you ask people, how can you be happy? They would focus more on collective happiness. In other words, if your community were not happy, you cannot be happy. So the very idea of the individual is new in human history. Before, we understood that if you want to live a happy life, you need to take care of your family. You need to take care of your community. For them, for us, throughout most of human history, happiness meant helping others, being generous to others. So, for example, let's just say that I go off and I wander, and then I find a lot of gold, right? I come back, and what's the first thing I do with all this gold? Do you guys know? And this is like the ancient past.
Dig a hole and put them inside.
Okay, yeah, good, right? We're gonna dig a hole and put that money inside because we want to give it to our children. That's a modern mindset. But what did they do before? And this happened throughout every society. If I became rich one day, what's the first thing I would do?
Show off. Show off.
No. Okay, so we'll learn this, okay? But the first thing that people did was they had a big feast for everyone. They spent all the money on a big feast. Because what mattered was your reputation within the community. What mattered was your generosity. If you got rich one day, you made sure that everyone in the community benefited from your wealth, usually by holding a big feast. And guess what, guys? This was true in China for most of Chinese history, right? If you come from a Chinese village, you come to Beijing, you open a restaurant, you make a lot of money, you go out to your village, what's the first thing you do? Come on, guys.
Feast.
You have a big feast for everyone. Okay, so this is ingrained in us, okay? But as you say, today what we believe is, if you have a lot of money, put it underground or put it in the bank, okay? But back then, for most of human history, we would just spend it all on a big feast. We wanted everyone to share in happiness, and that's what made us happy. Okay? Any questions? Yeah?
I was wondering, you mentioned that it was for reputation on some levels. Would that count into as your individual happiness? Because when you get rich, you care about your reputation.
Okay. Yeah. So you're asking, isn't this about individual reputation? And again, I mean, this is hard, okay? But the concept of the individual did not exist before. We just created it. The idea that I'm a person independent of my family, independent of my community, independent of the world around me, makes no sense. What was the worst punishment that could be inflicted on you in the past? Let's just say that we get in a fight, I kill you, right?
Like you're They said you no longer belong to this family.
Exactly. Banishment, exile. Not death, right? And today, if I killed you, the police would come catch me and kill me. But before, we didn't do that. Because the worst thing that we could do was exile you. It says, you're no longer part of us. You understand? So the concept of the individual did not exist. Right? Okay, so let's move on. All right, so now I'm going to present two understandings of the world. And you're going to tell me which understanding you think is correct. In the first understanding, we humans don't have agency. We don't have really control. Why? Because there are powerful gods out there, okay? There are these powerful gods like Apollo, Dionysus. Oh, the problem though is that they are also controlled by other gods that are more powerful, like, for example, fate, fortune. And then there are these really ancient gods that control the structure of the universe. For example, maybe anger and pride. So you have absolutely no individual agency because there's always a god screwing with you, okay? You might get rich, but then the god of pride looks at you and says, no, I need to teach this mortal a lesson. So the god comes into me, makes me too arrogant, and I screw up. Okay? So we're always being controlled by these forces beyond our understanding. Okay, so that's a first worldview. The second worldview is this. We are synapses that generate memories. Okay? We are memories. Our understanding of the world comes from our experience. That is controlled by synapses. Synapses come from a combination of DNA and environment. Our genes and our interaction with the environment, our experiences. And what this means is that we can now have control over our own individual fate. If you're angry, it's because some experience or some genes made you angry, and this anger becomes reinforced in your memories. And therefore, if you do proper therapy, if you do proper reflection, if you do some exercises, you can better control your anger and therefore control your fate. Okay? So in the first worldview, there are lots and lots of gods. They're evil and they're random, and we have absolutely no control over our fate. We can only hope to get lucky in life and not piss off the gods. In the second worldview, we are only a collection of our memories and we are only synapses. So if we're able to manipulate the memories and the synapses in a proper way, we can be free of all problems. We can be free of anger. We can be free of depression. We can be free of misery. All right? Let me ask you this question. Which worldview is a more accurate reflection of reality?
Second one.
Obviously the second one, right? Because this is neuroscience, science, or psychology or psychiatry. This is what you've been taught in school. This is what you all believe. Our entire society is structured around this very idea. And what you will learn in this class is it is completely wrong. It is the first one that is more accurate reflection of reality. The first one gives you more information, gives you a more accurate assessment of how the world really works. Okay? So now let me ask you this question. If the first worldview, and this is what we call polytheism, and polytheism for most of human history was the dominant religion, okay? Now we live in a world where the religion is science. Science is basically religion. So, why did we make this transition? What's the benefit? If you're a powerful person, why would you prefer the second one as opposed to the first one? Why? What's the benefits to powerful people? What does power want to believe the second one, but not the first one?
They can blame your own failure for your own faults.
Yeah, okay. So the idea of individual responsibility. Okay? So then there's more control. Okay? It's easier to control people in the system. Right? That's the first benefit. What's the second benefit? The second benefit is you will work harder, right? Because in the first system, you're like, you know what? I don't need to go make a lot of money because if I make a lot of money, the gods will punish me and make me proud. So I'm just gonna like enjoy life and take it easy. Right? So in the second system, no, I have control over my own life. So I need to work hard. Okay, so and again, the entire point of the system is to make you work as hard as possible, because when you work hard, that generates real wealth for the powerful people. Money does nothing, okay? Money just incentivizes you to work hard. So this exists in order to make you work harder. And there's one more benefit, or there's more benefits, but what's another benefit? Okay, the other benefit is this. Powerlessness. It makes you powerless. Why? This system is designed to make you absolutely powerless. Why?
You can't control anything.
Why?
Everything is controlled by gods and fate.
No. You see again, this is how you're brainwashed. You believe one makes you powerless, but that's not correct. Two makes you powerless. Why? What's the difference between 1 and 2? Why is it in number 2 you are powerless?
You're playing in the game that who has the power wants you to.
Okay, so the problem with number 2 is you are incapable of collective action. Because you think all the source of your problems is the individual in you and not society. But number 1, you are capable of collective action. And the only way to change the world is through collective action. Does that make sense? This is a really important point. 2 is designed to make you think the source of all your problems is within you. So you should ignore what other people do and think. It doesn't matter to you. And therefore, you're incapable of identifying with other people. You're not capable of collective action. If you're not capable of collective action and you feel really miserable, what you will do is play video games or watch porn all day. Okay? And that's what's happening in society today. Yeah?
But in number 2, like from experience, we would know that you should listen to the others' advice, or you should take others' perspectives and not just.
So in number 2, who has authority? Who do you listen to? You listen to scientists, right? Scientists. Because the system was created by scientists to trick you. Okay? This system, you think, oh, it's science, therefore it must be real. Guys, let me give you a piece of advice, okay? If you're ever feeling sad and you are depressed, what should you do? What should you do? What have you been taught to do? If you feel sad, you're depressed, what should you do?
Go to nature. Walk around.
Okay, yeah, the correct answer is walk around, but that's not what you've been taught, right? What have you been taught to do?
Tell your friend, your parent.
Okay, telling your friend, telling your parent, that's actually really good, right? So walking around, exercising, resting, talking to a friend about your problem, that's all really good. But what have you been taught to do in school? Really? If you are feeling really, really sad, what should you do? You should go talk to a psychiatrist, right?
Yeah.
You should talk to a psychologist. And what will he do? What will he or she do? Okay, well, I'm gonna give you a piece of advice, okay? And you can test it out for yourself. But if you're feeling sad and you are feeling depressed and you feel you have to talk to a psychiatrist, and you do so, I will make you a bet that the psychiatrist will make it a lot worse. You will feel worse after talking to a psychiatrist. Okay? And the reason why is the system is not designed to cure you of any problems. The system is to make you dependent on authority. You know that if you feel sad, well, you know what? Just go for a walk, talk to a friend, you'll feel better over time. But the system teaches you, no, if you feel sad, go talk to a psychiatrist who will give you drugs. It's designed to make you dependent on authority, yeah?
I want to ask, like, in scenario one, rule number one, wouldn't God also be an authority? Like, God would also be authority.
That's actually a great question, okay? God is authority. Okay, that's actually a great question. Thank you so much. So I have to spend time to explain to you both systems, and I will do so. But what's really important about number one is the gods are really bad people, okay? The gods in number one, the polytheistic system, they fight all the time. They're vengeful, they're angry, they're proud, but because they're gods, they can get away with it. And that's the difference between humans and gods. We're all the same. We're all angry. We're all jealous. We all fight, okay? But the gods can get away with it. The humans cannot. Gods can do hubris. We cannot do hubris. Do you understand? So the idea that, the people in power are benevolent. The people in power are authority figures who are after our best interest. That is a new modern concept. Before, it was assumed that the king is a king. Why? Because he's favored by the gods. It's not because he's a good person. It's not because he's a just ruler. It's just because the gods like him for whatever reason. But guess what? The gods give and the gods take. Maybe today, the king will rule us, but maybe 5 years from now, he gets unlucky and the gods kill him. Too bad. If you read Greek mythology, and we will do so in this class, okay? We'll go over into Greek civilization. We'll look at Oedipus. We'll look at Homer, the Iliad, okay? They talk about this all the time. Fate is something that you cannot control. It's something that happens to you. And therefore, you must live life to your best. All right? So the difference is this. The difference is in number one, they have a concept called eudaimonia. If you have no control over your fate, if things can happen to you tomorrow that kill you, then live your life to the best of your ability today. Seize the day. Be the best that you can be today. And that's how you win favor from the gods. Eudaimonia, what we call flourishing. The point of life is to live it to the best of your ability. And that's why, guess what, guys? The ancients, the Greeks, they were superior to us. If you read Greek literature, if you read Greek philosophy, Plato, Homer, Aeschylus, Euripides, they were the best. Today, we suck. Why? Because instead of eudaimonia, we have pleasure. Rather than flourish as creative people, we're like, how do I enjoy my life today? How do I not feel sad? Okay? So in the first system, even though it sounds like we have no control, we have no agency, but it inspires us to live to the best of our ability. In the second system, we're like, you have complete control over your life. It enslaves us. Okay? All right. Now let's move on to the third and final example. Okay. And I know this is shocking. I know this is surprising. But over the course of the semester, I will give you enough evidence to convince you that this is all true, okay? But I'm just setting up the structure and the framework today.